Hello everybody and welcome back to another match reaction on the channel. It finished at the New Lawn tonight. Forest Green Rovers 0, Charlton Athletic 1. Yeah, not exactly convincing, eh? We certainly made that a lot more difficult than what it needed to be, really. It's a game that we should really be winning, and thankfully we have, but yeah, didn't exactly do it convincingly, did we? I guess you could say a game of two halves by the way it went. First half, I felt we were a lot more comfortable. Second half, we got absolutely battered. And I think, to be honest with you, judging by the chances that Forest Green actually created for themselves, you could make the argument that they should really have come away with a point. It's just as well that they didn't take their chances. And as I make the argument a couple of times over the years, if you don't take your chances, do you really deserve to win a game? And ultimately, I think it was a pretty decent goal from our two wingers. That was the difference between the two sides. But like I say, we certainly didn't make it easy for ourselves. But nevertheless, we have come away with the 3 points, 100% away record now in the league in the calendar year 2023, which obviously is positive news. Move up to 11th with quite possibly the most average record you could have at this point in the season. 30 games, 10 is our record, which just screams mid-table mediocrity, doesn't it? Which is where we are right now. We are 11th, obviously with a number of teams having games in hand around us. And there is an element of concern I have after this performance, especially considering that our next two games are against 5th and 2nd, respectively, Derby and Sheffield Wednesday, of course, which, as I say, when you come up against a side who are bottom of the league and put in the performance that we just did, raises concerns, I do have to say. But nonetheless, as I say, despite the pretty shaky performance and pretty shocking second half, we have to say, we have come away with the 3 points, and I think that is the most important thing. So let's get into this match reaction, shall we? Starting as ever with the starting 11. Holden names two changes from the side that lost to Fleetwood at the weekend. I believe it's two anyway. Matt Penny was taken out of the squad. I say taken out of the squad, he was put on the bench, which I must say I was quite surprised to see him in the match day 18, considering how much of a beating he took against Fleetwood. He was obviously forced off with an injury, went down a couple of times in that game. But nevertheless, I think it was the correct decision to drop him. Steven Sessegnon coming back into the side. Yeah, would much rather have Sessegnon in his place, really. Penny, despite being forced off with an injury, and he did, as I say, take a bit of a beating on the weekend, it was by far the worst performance we've seen from him so far. A lot of Charlton fans with a bit of an overreaction, to be honest, on social media. People saying he's the worst loan signing we've ever had. I'm not jumping to that conclusion. I'm not getting ahead of myself that badly just yet, because ultimately Penny has only played 3 games so far, I do believe anyway, and he's put in very different performances in all of them. You know, against Bolton he was quite average, was quite underrated in my opinion. Against Exeter, but we had a pretty good game, and obviously against Fleetwood was pretty shocking. But I'm not jumping to conclusions just yet, because ultimately it's only 3 games he's been at the club. However, as I say, I would much rather Sessegnon in his position, and Sessegnon, rightly so, came back into the side. And the other change was Chuks Aneke, who come in place of Macauley Bonne up front. Must admit, was quite surprised to see Aneke starting his first start in over a year, which is quite bad to say when you put it, because Aneke's been absolutely injury ravaged, not just this season, but throughout his entire Charlton career over the last couple of years he's been here. And it's obviously not been good for him, but it was quite nice to see him get a start today over Macauley Bonne. Again, I felt the right decision, obviously, with Leeburn being out of a minor hip injury, and with the performances that Bonne's put in of late. Yes, he's run his socks off, but he's definitely put in performances that are way below the expected performance that we need from him, really. And I felt that Aneke was definitely the go-to option to have up front in this game. So they were the two changes. The rest of the team was obviously the same. Maynard-Brewer in goal, Clare right back, Ness and Ryan Inniss as the two centre-back pairing. Of course, Inniss getting his red card rescinded from the weekend. Of course, if you haven't seen it, it was a stupid decision from the referee. The referee just, I think at the point he gave the red card, he just completely lost the game, to be honest with you. Lost his head, lost complete control. And Inniss, it's not last man, it's not a red card. However, it does show how much of a liability Inniss can be. That being said, he's by far a better option than Terrell Thomas, and at the moment a better option than Michael Hector, because he's not fit. So I suppose it is positive news with Inniss coming back into the side with his red card being rescinded. Obviously, Sessegnon playing left back. Midfield 3 the same. Dobson, Kilkenny and Fraser, and Blackett-Taylor and Rak-Sakyi were the wingers, supporting Aneke as the lone striker. As for Forest Green, as I say, coming into this game as the worst team in the league. They're bottom of the league, 22 points, 5 wins all season, winless since December. I think 11 or 12 games without a win now, under the guidance of Duncan Ferguson. Going to be interesting to see what he can do long term. I felt they signed some pretty decent players in the transfer window, particularly Jordan Garrick and Amadou Bakayoko. I think they were two pretty impressive signings. Garrick has obviously had decent loan spells at League One previously from Swansea at the likes of Plymouth, and I believe he played for Lincoln. I'm not entirely sure before. I think he made the move to Forest Green permanently. And of course, Bakayoko has had a pretty decent time at League One, got some good experience with the likes of Coventry and served Bolton quite well before making the move to Forest Green. Certainly, you could say a game of two halves. As the first half, we looked pretty comfortable. I think it was fairly obvious to say which team was on top, and that was us. Forest Green just let us have the ball, really. They just let us just spray passes left, right and centre. They gave us way too much space on either wing, particularly the right-hand side. Clare and Jesurun Rak-Sakyi had so much space on that side, countless amount of times, and we just found it quite easy to play balls inside, and we also found it quite easy to cut Forest Green out. As I say, they didn't really threaten us at all, and like I did say at the start, it was one moment of quality that was the difference between the two sides, as Rak-Sakyi breezed his way past his man on the right-hand side, just glided past him like he weren't even there, really. The defender didn't even stand a chance. He uses his pace, runs into the box, cuts inside, plays the ball across the box. I think it takes a bit of a deflection off the Forest Green man, and it falls kindly to Blackett-Taylor, who is there to poke it home for his 6th of the season, tripling his goal tally from last season, which of course is very positive that end product is starting to come through with Blackett-Taylor this year, unlike the last. And yeah, deservedly so in front. As I say, I thought we looked quite comfortable in the opening minutes, and to be fair, I think for the opening 25 we did look pretty comfortable, and we were very close to a second through Rak-Sakyi, who of course created the first, and he should really be doing a lot better. Clare did really well on the right side, done like a little step over. He got the ball quite easily on the right side. As I say, they just gave us way too much space and were just not coming towards us on that side particularly. Clare does really well with some neat little footwork, nice little step over, puts the ball into the box towards Aneke at the back post, who heads it down really well. And Rak-Sakyi, he does connect to it, but doesn't connect well enough to it. Basically just shanks it and scuffs it, and it does fall quite nicely for the keeper to make a save. Should really be doing better in that position, and should really have closed the game off there and made it 2-0. They grew into the game as it went on. I felt in the first half, towards the latter stages of the first half, sorry, they came forward a lot more and they started to attack us a bit. Not really with any threatening opportunities. Maynard-Brewer didn't have anything to do, really, and we were able to cut them out for the most part. But they did kind of change the tempo of the game. That was half-time. As I say, fairly comfortable, to be honest with you. We looked fairly comfortable. Should really have taken advantage with other chances that we had. As I say, Rak-Sakyi had that chance not long after we made it 1-0, and Blackett-Taylor, I think, had another one as well. We got the ball on the left, tried to cut inside and sort of miss-hit it, and it trickled out at the near post out for a goal kick. So, like I say, I thought we had the chances in the first half to maybe grab a couple more. The second half, I felt, was a completely different story. I felt Forest Green battered us, to be honest with you. We really were poor in the second half, and we kind of just, I don't know what it was. We just kind of just had our backs against the wall for most of the second half. They were just coming at us constantly, and we just soaked up the pressure. I don't know what it was. It was just really frustrating and annoying to watch. I don't know, like it was just really hard to grasp what we were doing, to be honest with you. And like I say, they just absolutely came at us. You know, they had some really good opportunities throughout the game. Bakayoko had a chance. Charlie Savage, Robbie Savage's son, came on for his debut, obviously on loan from Manchester United, and the Forest Green commentators wouldn't stop banging on about him. Literally every single, probably every 20 seconds, they just gave him a mention. But to be fair, Savage did make a bit of an impact in the game. You know, he was stinging in some pretty decent crosses from corners. Chuks Aneke came off in about the 70th minute. He was replaced by Macauley Bonne. Yeah, Aneke putting in a very similar performance to what Bonne has been putting in. Really didn't really do an awful lot. Shielded the ball quite a lot of time, a couple of times, should I say. Used his physicality a number of times, or a select few number of times, should I say, to try and bully the Forest Green defenders. But yeah, very quiet from Aneke. Didn't have a shot on goal. Didn't really do an awful lot. And Bonne took his place, who, again, for the final 20 minutes, run his socks off. But again, no real clear-cut chances, and nothing to say that, you know, he's going to bag a couple goals for us. He's going to look a decent player, really, and that might be a bit harsh, but it's a concern for me, considering how Leeburn is the only one of the strikers that we've got that can actually make an impact. So like I say, Bonne will run his socks off, but hasn't really shown anything to say that he can score goals. And I think for me, he is running out of time when it comes to starting games. He's really got to start making an impact, or he won't be given a contract in the summer, and I don't think he deserves one. And obviously with Aneke, I will give him a bit of lenience, considering he has come back from an injury. He's had a really tough time recently. He's obviously his first start in over a year, so I will give him a little bit of lenience. But as I say, if I'm being totally honest in this game, didn't do an awful lot in this match, if anything, to be honest with you, and that's the honest truth. But yeah, second half was yeah, really, it was really poor. It was really poor, I have to be honest here. But I think I will say there were some pretty decent defensive performances out there. Sean Clare, you could tell he was absolutely knackered, but he definitely put in a good shift today. I thought he did really well, particularly in the first half, linked up well with Rak-Sakyi, put some decent passes in, and obviously was a pretty influential player in that first half, and again was pretty solid defensively. Lucas Ness, honourable mention to him as well, very solid again. Big standout moment for me in that second half where they put a ball into the box and Ness comes across really well. Sessegnon, I think, completely lost his man, or the Forest Green attacker was running at him and he definitely had the beat out of him. If Ness hadn't got across and won the header, there was no doubt the Forest Green would have put the ball in the back of the net there. So Ness done really well to pull off a really good defensive header. Forest Green, they just kept coming at us, man. They just kept coming at us and kept hitting us with chances. Maynard-Brewer pulling off a really good save from a header at one point. But we just sat back and soaked the pressure up. I really don't understand it. And I felt that that was the difference, really. That's why I say it was a game of two halves, because you could tell the difference between the two halves. In the first half, we were fairly comfortable. We looked the better team because ultimately Forest Green didn't pressure us. They did not want to come at us and they just let us have the ball. In the second half, they pressured us and they just constantly just hit us with chances. And we just sat back and just soaked the pressure up with the other changes that we made. You know, we took Kilkenny off, brought on Jack Payne. I felt Kilkenny was all right. He misplaced a couple of passes. He got stuck in a couple of times. I felt he was fairly average, to be honest with you. And obviously Payne, he's got a bit of pace. He's a little whippet. He can run about the place and pressure him a little bit. And we took off Blackett-Taylor, who obviously was the difference between the two sides. His goal was the difference. I felt he had an okay game, to be honest with you. And he was replaced by Hector, making his debut today. It was going to be interesting to see how he fared in the final minutes. Yeah, definitely a no-nonsense centre-half from what I've seen from that performance. Literally every single chance he got hold of the ball, he would just bang, just smash it upfield, just hoof the ball long. And it's going to be interesting to see how he fares when he is fully fit. Because, yeah, a pretty all right showing, to be honest with you. If he's going to do that and just smash balls away and they're completely no nonsense and made a couple of decent challenges, going to be interesting to see how he fares. But, yeah, I didn't like that from us today, to be honest with you. We just sat back. We just completely sat back and soaked the pressure up. And I guess it's just so well that Forest Green had only one shot on target in the entire game. And I believe that was obviously the Maynard-Brewer save. But they had some really big opportunities, you know, to draw level at the very least. Miles Peart-Harris made an absolute hash of one opportunity. Sessegnon completely lost his man on the right-hand side. They ran through, pulled the ball back in the box. No one marked Peart-Harris whatsoever. And Peart-Harris completely smashes it over the bar. He's got to be doing a lot better from that position. And like I say, they had the chances. They had the chances to draw at least level. And to be fair, I was sat there watching it and sat there thinking, if they score, we have to say they deserve it because they've absolutely battered us. But what I will say, and what I did say at the beginning, if you don't take your chances, do you deserve to win a game? And ultimately, as I say, 12 shots, 1 on target for Forest Green. It's not good enough. It's not good enough from their perspective, from their attacking perspective. And ultimately, it was the Addicts that held on to a 1-0 victory. Like I say, not the most convincing of victories in the world. A pretty shocking second half display. A comfortable first half performance though. And like I say, the difference was Blackett-Taylor's goal. Pretty good defensive display from a number of players. Like I say, Clare and Ness were the standout ones for me. It is a concerning performance, especially when you look at the next two games that we've got against Derby and Sheffield Wednesday, who are two teams in form at the moment. You know, they're gunning for promotion. They're going to be two very big tests for Dean Holden's side, but hopefully we can go into this game, those two games, and we can put in a decent performance and hopefully much better than the previous two that we've seen against Fleetwood and Forest Green. But a winning start to 2023 away from home in the league. Hopefully we can carry that on against Derby County. I am going to that game, a new ground for me to tick off in the 92. Looking forward to it. And obviously Sheffield Wednesday at home. Need to start winning at home and need to be more consistent. We've lost 2 on the bounce now at home, so we need to fix that. And yeah, hopefully we can continue to kick on, put in some more decent performances and hopefully grab more results. But like I say, not the most convincing performance in the world tonight. We made it very difficult, but the most important thing is we came away with the 3 points. So that is it for this match reaction, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, can you possibly leave a like, subscribe if you are new to the channel, turn on those post notifications so you're notified of every time I upload a new video. We are 16 subscribers away from 4,000 subscribers. If we can get to that very, very soon, that'd be absolutely awesome. Your support has been brilliant on the channel lately. What do you guys think of the game? Let me know in the comments below. This has been Tyler Roninson. Have a nice day, and I'll see you all for that match reaction against Derby County at the weekend. Take it easy, stay safe, and I will see you all then.